Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's hearing on the proposed 2018 Department of Technology operating budget. Before we begin, I do want to thank everyone for their work and preparation for today's hearing and the overall budget process. The Department of Technology Director, Director Orth, who will be presenting, Deputy CIO and Chief of Staff Pam O'Grady, Deputy CIO Rick Wagner, and Assistant Director and Fiscal Officer Gwen Acrabetto. Thank you all for being here. I would like to thank members of the public for taking the time to come down to City Hall and those tuning in from home to learn more about our budget process. I do wish to remind those members of the public who are planning to speak tonight to please fill out a speaker slip before the public testimony portion of the hearing. The purpose of today's hearing is to review and comment on the proposed 2018 Department of Technology operating budget, which is available online at www.columbus.gov/finance. This hearing will be available to the public on columbus.gov YouTube channel and is currently streaming live online on the CTV website and broadcasting on Spectrum Cable and WOW on Channel 3 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99. I will now turn it over to Director Orth for the presentation. Again, thank you all for being here and look forward to your comment and review of the budget.
Well, good afternoon, Chairman Cinciano, members of council, for giving us the Department of Technology the opportunity to share our 2018 operating budget. I'm joined by my colleagues here to the left. We really wanted to start this afternoon by giving a general overview of our role in city government and also to include some highlights of various focus areas we've been working on not only this year but will continue to work on in 2018 as we move forward in serving the citizens of the city. There'll certainly be time at the end for questions. I always like to start with the mission of our department. In many respects, our role is to support the overall mission of the City of Columbus, and that's serving the public and to align with the priorities of Mayor Ginther. Our mission is to plan, design, develop, procure, and deliver technology solutions that create value for the departments we serve. So we see ourselves as really serving in that capacity. The planning function is something that we have really worked hard on in the last year to focus on. And really beginning about a year ago, our emphasis as a department really was what we call the pillars of customer satisfaction. We believe that good technology works well when we engage the customer. Ultimately, what we do as a department, as I said a moment ago, is about customer engagement, and our emphasis has been and will continue to be engagement with city departments across the city and how they're using technology and how we can help them use technologies in ways that create value. So those pillars are loosely very focused on the customer. When we consider new technology products or services, central to our decision making is always how we create value, how we create efficiencies, how we enable the business of government. We try and do that in a collaborative approach, an engagement model where we really engage our fellow colleagues across the enterprise, whether that be cabinet directors, assistant directors, and other staff. So we're quite busy going back and forth between our home office and all the departments across the city. And then lastly, technology is always about change. And if you use technology in your daily life, it's probably changing just in the amount of time that we're here together this afternoon. So our goal always is to continually improve. You never, in the race towards quality, there is no finish line. So we're always looking for ways to improve what we're doing. One of the really important focus areas for us in 2018 is really kind of an internally facing program, but something we think is really going to pay dividends, not just for the Department of Technology, but really is going to help the department in everything I just talked through around value creation and engagement. and it's what we call, IT service management. The city right now really has a help desk platform, but we have really no centralized system that has all our IT investments in it in one place. And the adoption of this new service platform, which was approved by council in the last quarter, we'll be implementing in 2018, is going to bring new service desk capabilities to the city. Right now, our end users, of which there's about 10,000 end users across the city, when they have a help desk or they have a new need or desire for technology, call a phone number. And this new environment will provide a customer service portal that will allow our end users to submit either requests for new service or requests for assistance with their technology via a self-service portal. They'll also be able to use email and other things that make it easier for them essentially to engage with us. And then another part of that, important part of really managing IT well, is the notion of transparency. And so, our end user customers all have jobs to do in the missions they lead in their agencies, and really knowing where things stand in our department, where a problem is, how close it is to being resolved, and where their requests for service are, is really important to them. And so this new platform that we're implementing has very powerful dashboarding capabilities, whereby we'll be able to develop dashboards for agencies across the government, including council, so that you'll be able to see where all your requests for help or your requests for new service stand. And then lastly, the system provides what is referred to as a catalog. Just think of that as a menu of service, and that will be used by our customers and really either, again, asking for help or requesting new service. The basis of a lot of what we do as a department in providing services really starts firstly with our fiber network. And Columbus has been very fortunate to have a long-standing fiber program as a municipal government. We have over 500 miles of fiber across 3 counties here in Central Ohio, and that number is growing. And beyond using it on a daily basis for the city network and serving the city needs, we make that fiber network available to the public with the general goals of making broadband affordable to families and residents across the area. We make it available to the broadband community. We also make it available to the many institutional and organizational and corporate partners, private partners in the region for their use as a way to run their business or to suit their purposes. And then lastly, we want to make it available for public safety needs. Really in this real-time world that we all live in, time is very important from a public safety point of view, and the ability to share information quickly across the city, whether it be video networks or wireless connectivity or cell phones or whatever the technology may be at the moment, they all come back to fiber networks. So fiber networks, from our point of view, are really very important to not only our operations of the city, but the ongoing needs of the region. And so it will remain a focus area in 2018. As I'm going to talk in a moment, the department has been very engaged with public safety in the body-worn cameras. Our availability and access to fiber actually lowered some of our body-worn camera implementation costs. So a part of that initiative was getting fiber to all the police substations. We're going to be following behind that with investing in fiber to fire stations. That project's currently underway. We also have a goal of getting fiber to Rex and Park facilities and the community centers in particular, which are really local community hubs that are used for multiple purposes throughout the year, and often an area where camps and educational opportunities and community presentations and all kinds of activity go on. So really getting the community centers connected to fiber is an important goal. And then, as I mentioned before, we'll continue our fiber availability program for public use. And then lastly, I would just, on fiber want to say that, we really see it as an instrumental resource moving forward with, in addition to broadband availability for the public. The Smart Columbus program will utilize fiber, and there's a lot going on with things like sensors and other types of technologies that at some point the city will consider will all rely on those fiber networks. Beyond communication and connectivity for city uses, all the various applications that the city runs, and we'll talk about that here in a moment, all are housed in the city's two data centers. We have two data centers here in Central Ohio that are connected together. Cybersecurity and systems availability is an ongoing critical need of the city. Our departments rely on our phone systems or the applications they use to run their businesses literally 24/7, 365. And so we have to essentially build them in a way that they're always available. And the data centers and the server and storage infrastructure that we run, which houses all these applications, is essentially instrumental to that 24/7 availability. We also are the city's core desktop computer and phone provider. We procure, deploy, and support over 10,000 network devices across city government and all the city facilities. That includes computers, tablets, telephones, and mobile devices. We do have a move going on with the opening of the Coleman building in February. Much of our desktop support staff are located down here in the central campus. We'll be moving into the new facility. And then with council's support and the Department of Technology will be expanding from a shared services point of view in 2018 to supporting phone services in partnership with the Oklahoma City Schools. We think that's a really important first step. A lot of what the school district and the city does, we share in common, especially with our technology infrastructure. We see this as a critical first step in that relationship and see an opportunity to leverage the city's fiber and other investments by both the school district and the city in the future. And then beyond all that, there's just a natural relationship between the city and the school district around many things, including things like public safety. So by having and sharing the same system, it's going to make bring those two entities closer together. All these core components really are enable the most important thing, and that's the applications that we use literally every day in every department across the city. And we really live in a world where our customers, the citizens and the residents and the visitors we serve, expect us to serve them at their speed. There are combined 12 essential city services across the city. There's 6 enterprise applications used by all city departments, things like payroll, geographic information systems, Acela, which is a business process automation tool, 311, which is our primary means for non-public safety communication from our citizens, and performance. And in addition to that, there's 54 major lines of business applications used by departments across the city. So whether it's revenue collection or case management or claims management or just general record keeping, the Department of Technology essentially is a cloud service provider to all those agencies and departments where we provide all the services necessary to enable the use of those applications. One of the things I just wanted to highlight, not only backwards looking from a 2017 point of view, but also forward looking, which I really think kind of captures this notion of customer engagement and this value orientation, is the work that the Department of Technology has done in partnership with Public Safety around police video. We often talk about body-worn cameras, but it also includes dash cameras in the cruisers. So that's loosely, we're now referring to that really as police video. And essentially, as the project began to unfold, really the two agencies came together and created a joint program management office. And so there's dedicated project teams in both organizations, and I'm not going to read through the entire org chart, but you can see there's literally about 15 full-time people that are really monitoring the police video projects. We started last year meeting on a weekly basis, developing project plan, and we continue to meet every Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And we feel this approach was really vital to the success of the program. Having the business owner and the technology provider working together to implement the program so that we all really understand our roles and what tasks we have and what responsibilities we have for implementing the program among those two organizations has really helped keep the project on task. And I'm happy to report to you, Chairman Cinziano, that the program is on schedule right now. As of today's hearing, there's 568 cameras right now that have been deployed in the field. The goal of the administration is to have approximately 1,500 by the end of next calendar year, and we anticipate achieving that goal. Unless some unforeseen circumstance were to arise, but we certainly don't expect that at this point. And that is a pretty big achievement from the point of view of looking at what other municipalities are doing, the amount of work that had to happen in terms of making all the police substations ready for this technology, really preparing the officers and deploying the cameras, learning how to use the cameras for the first time. These are all new. That's been a big change for the force. And then importing the video and managing the video, all at the same time we stood up a completely new environment. So this is just an example of really what can happen when agencies work together, and we're proud of the work of the Department of Public Safety in this particular program. And it's just an example of our approach in other things that we're doing across the city with other departments, whether it be public service or public utilities or the city auditor income tax. We also play an important role in helping the city remain connected to our citizens and residents and visitors and businesses in the Columbus footprint. We have Columbus TV and Media Services. The city runs 2 television networks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including right now. In 2017, we produced close to 250 hours of on-air programming, including broadcasting meetings of City Council and the Franklin County Commission. Those two, all the public broadcasts can be seen locally on Spectrum Channel 96, WOW Cable Channel 3, UVerse Channel 99. We also live stream all our video at columbus.gov/CTV. Video is also available on our award-winning My Columbus app. And one area I just want to mention is that in addition to ongoing broadcasting, our Columbus CTV unit is spending a lot of time developing customized videos for various departments across the city. So, for example, Civil Service recently made available remote and regional test sites in the city's rec and park centers. Video clip advertising, or essentially making citizens aware of that, was developed by CTV. Columbus.gov is our primary resource for delivering public information and accessing online services from city's elected officials. We routinely are monitoring its consumption, and as with any website, it's an ongoing work in process, because the programs of the city are always changing it, so always updating it. But Overall, we continue to rank in the top 1% globally and nationally in usage among government websites. We have over 2.27 million annual visits to the website, over 6,000 connections to the website on a daily basis. The site contains over 77,000 links from 1,870 other websites are all connected back to the Columbus website. And it's probably worth mentioning, no surprise, but we're seeing that about half of the connections to our website are coming from mobile phones and tablets. And really from that point of view, we work really hard to make the columbus.gov website seamless between people using computers on the internet and the My Columbus app, and we're trying to make everything available in both those platforms in a similar way. And what citizens can do beyond online payments, they can apply for parking permits, they can check rec and park schedules, they can find out about sports activities, they can learn about Columbus Green Spot, they can file 311 requests. A recent addition this year, with your assistance, Chairman Cinziano, is the links to the Area Commission websites are now on columbus.gov. With links back to the individual Area Commission websites. And we also added this year the street sweeping schedule, Warrior Watch, which is the snowplow schedule, seems more important for this particular time of the year, but the summer street cleaning has also been added. One of the areas that we see a lot of growth in use of systems across the city is our geographic information systems. Really spending a lot of time, city departments often really want to understand how the products and services they provide across the city are being consumed. And a key to understanding that is where the consumers of those products and services live or work, or how they essentially use those services in the city. And that's really what geographic information systems are all about. And among all the platforms that we provide, it has one of the largest user groups. There's over 70 end users across the city that really use our GIS systems. And we see that usage of the geospatial system increasing pretty rapidly. There's a lot of discussion, not just in the city, but in the industry and really at a state level and nationally around. You're probably hearing things like big data and data analytics. And that's really all about trying to understand our citizens in a way that we can use the data to provide better services back to them. And we see the foundation of the city's data management strategy and services that we provide as essentially coming from initially our geospatial information system. And so I'm happy to tell you that, with the mayor's support and the support of council, we have and are now creating a new, what we call a line of business, a new section, a new department within the Department of Technology that we're characterizing as data management services. We're going to be merging our GIS group and our data management practices together. And the whole purpose behind that is to begin to build citywide capacity, not just within DOT, but really by engaging citywide departments around the use of data in ways that drive that value and our understanding in ways that it helps our services. So the types of activities we expect this emergent group to provide will be continued enhancements to our open data portal. There's a screenshot of that there on the right. But also really helping agencies understand what data they have, whether it's of good quality, how they might use it, and how they might use tools that we've recently acquired to help them understand the data. And that's that data visualization component that's down there, at the bottom. So that was, a pretty quick summary of a lot of the things that we've been working on, to getting down to brass tacks. Just real quickly, overview on the budget. The 2018 budget request is for $38,514,702. The department operates as an internal service fund, so we're essentially a chargeback agency that supports the technology services the department provides to other city departments, divisions, and outside entities. Really, the two outside entities right now are Franklin County and now Columbus City Schools. In addition to receiving, we also receive $18,743,941, or about 49% from the general fund for those departments. The Technology Services Fund is expected to receive $19,770,761, or approximately 51% of its budget from other fund city departments. Its budget consists of a total staffing level of 163 positions, consisting of 159 full-time equivalent and part-time equivalent positions. Just breaking that total number down further, approximately $7,804,052 is the director's office function, and the direct charge budget of $5,686,746, or 15%, which is direct charge, whereby the department pays certain technology costs on behalf of their departments for both the general and other fund chargeback on a dollar-for-dollar basis. The department's indirect charge budget totals $32,827,956, or 85%, and that's comprised of the Director's Office Administration budget, which is $2,117,306, and the Information Services Division budget, which is where the bulk of the services are provided, which is $30,710,650. That really concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate that overview. And of course, I always have questions. Do appreciate for such a smaller department, comparatively to some of the other ones we have, all of the kind of forward thinking and vision. Very excited, and just more of a comment than a question about that data management services merger and the vision. I know we've had a lot of conversations on how open data can be a resource not only within city departments, but for the public at large. And so very excited by the mayor, the department's vision to make that happen and really position our city well in the state of Ohio and nationally. First question, and one thing you mentioned was that partnership with the Voice over Internet protocol. Always appreciate the partnership. Are there projected savings that will ultimately have, and when would we start seeing some of those savings?
Mr. Chairman, there will definitely be savings, but I do want to reiterate, as I said before, really the primary motivator for the city in this relationship is that we feel it's the right thing to do. It's helpful to Columbus City Schools, and we think it's a critical and very important first step. I know, historically there's been various conversations about bringing the school district and the city together from an IT point of view, and for whatever reason they did not happen in the past. So we believe this is a critical first component. As we described in earlier meetings in this chamber before council, the overall project for Columbus City Schools is approximately $3.75 million, excuse me, in the first year. One important thing to note is that this is essentially a change for them from an operating to capital point of view. The city's portion of the overall budget is in the first year is only about 18%, or $674,000. The remaining amount, which is about $3 million, are really expenditures that will be made by the school district for the implementation of phones across the district. And it's important to mention that they will be expanding the number of phones that they have available to classrooms, and there will be more phones as a result of the program when it's completed. Our primary financial benefit will be that the school district is funding full two full-time additional resources in our telephone support services team. We use a tiered support model. We have 3 full-time voice staff that support our desktop teams and our telephone coordinators across the city. So we're essentially adding 2 more full-time people to that team of 3. So it's going to go from 3 to 5. And that budgetary investment for those 2 full-time resources is $164,790. And part of the relationship with the district, allows us to use those resources to support both the city and the school district, because again, they're providing the back-end support. This phone support team will support Columbus City staff in supporting the phones actually out in the school buildings and in the classrooms. And that will not begin immediately, because there's some make-ready work to do around getting the buildings ready for these new phone systems. But once, obviously, it's probably safe to say that we won't be putting all the phones in all the buildings all at the same time. We'll be building them out a building at a time. But once the phones start getting implemented and they start going operational, we will be getting these new staff. And so that will begin in the first half of 2016, or excuse me, 2018.
Appreciate the explanation, Director. One item that I know we discussed in the budget preparation was the role of a chief security officer and that commitment to fulfill that role again. And just could you speak a little bit more about continuing to protect the citywide network from any concerns of corruption, theft, or data loss?
Well, Mr. Chairman, as you know, this is always an issue that's on our minds, and I think we'd all, it's not something we like to talk about, but it's frankly in the information technology field today, it's just a fact of life. And the truth of the matter is that whether you're at home, work, or play, there's always somebody watching, always trying to get into our systems because of how we use them, right? We conduct commerce over them, we use them to run our businesses, and so they become an important area that we have to protect. So the Chief Security Officer or Chief Information Security Officer, depending on which title you want to use, will work with the CIO and city departments to ensure that appropriate cybersecurity safeguards are in place to protect critical city assets from cybersecurity risk. We think that the focus needs to be and needs to continue to be on ongoing planning, understanding the risk, and implementing various, people, process, and technology protections to mitigate the potential risk. And a really important focus in cybersecurity is on end-user engagement. It really is a collaboration. It takes training and engagement and understanding, not just from a technology point of view, but from a business point of view, what departments are doing. And so we think that a continued increase in dialogue across all city departments, whether it be departments under the mayor or city council or the auditor or the treasurer, is around cybersecurity and how we're all working together to control the risk remains an important goal in 2018.
Little transition. You mentioned the dashboard, and I know Deputy and Chief of Staff O'Grady has heard me talk a lot about 311 and how to bring that into the 21st century. Curious within the budget if, and when you talked about dashboard, is that an opportunity to enhance the 311 system, or does the department have some other goals for 2018 in partnership with Department of Neighborhoods?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing that up. It's a really important, system for the city. As I mentioned earlier, for non-public safety, it's the primary means that our residents really engage with us around service requests. And interestingly enough, Columbus historically was one of the first cities in the nation to adopt 311. At the time, there was no commercial product to fulfill 311. We essentially built a system, we wrote a system internally and that we still use today. We've kind of been looking at the system, and as you might imagine, there's always a need to keep it updated, and we work pretty closely with neighborhoods and really understanding what their requests are. And so we have current development activities underway. I'll talk about that here in a second. It's probably worth mentioning that there have been some changes in the 311 team and a new 311 call center manager coming into the Department of Neighborhoods, and that's obviously our critical business owner for the system, and we think it's really going to be important to engage in partnership with the new 311 director around his or her needs around the new system. Most of what we do on an ongoing annual basis with regard to 311 is sometimes hard for citizens to see. It's really focused on integrating the 311 system with those other lines of business systems that I was mentioning before. And the point to the integrations is that when citizens call into the call center, that the call center operators have more rapid access to information to fulfill their service requests. So whenever there's a delay, that means that the citizen has to wait. And so we're working hard to integrate the existing system with things like the trash, putting the trash container number in the system. So when the call center operator pulls up a citizen's record, they'll know their assigned trash receptacle. Other examples are integrating with the work order repair system in public utilities for sewer and drainage, so that they've got an issue with their sewer or their drain, instead of having to wait, the data's right there within the 311 system. So we will continue to update the system that was written by the city moving forward in 2018. Having said that, there certainly are a variety of commercial systems that are now available, and we are going to study, again, in partnership with Neighborhoods and 311, the feasibility of using our newly acquired IT service management system as a potential way to either augment or replace the 311 system. We think that dashboarding capability that I described earlier, and I do want to mention that even though it's characterized as an IT management system, other governments and municipalities are using it for 311. And the same is true in the private sector. So we really look forward to that conversation with them, and I'm hopeful we'll have more to report on the future 311 as 2018 unfolds.
Thank you very much for that explanation. I too look forward to additional work on all those fronts. I don't have any further questions. No one from the audience, and thank them for being here, submitted any speaker slips. So at that time, we will kind of wrap up the hearing. I do appreciate the presentation. Do want to thank you, Director Orth, your leadership team, not only for today's budget presentation, but for our work throughout the last year and moving forward. Always appreciate the willingness to entertain some ideas, as well as discuss how best to put the department, the wonderful employees, and a lot of creative folks in the best position for success. I do want to thank the council staff, John Oswalt, Trenton Weaver, Kevin McCain, and Matt Erickson, for their help on our side of things. This information presented is always appreciated as we evaluate our budget priorities for 2018 for the department and for the city. I encourage those looking for more information to visit the Department of Technology website at www.columbus.gov/technology or call 614-645-2550. If you're looking for more information on the overall proposed 2018 operating budget, again, you can find that online at www.columbus.gov/finance. Only 3 W's, not 6. You can also call my office anytime, 614-645-8084, or email me at mstenziano@columbus.gov. This hearing will be adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.